was talking about? Oh,
They seem to be pretty
let's go in.
Just be careful.
Let the show begin. Nice and spicy. Call it Amber. Help!
I'm going in. Ow. Let's light it up! Why do they never miss? Teamwork is dreamwork!
Out of the frying pan. I'll protect us.
Let's light it up!
Watch it. The floor here isn't safe. This place has also been contaminated.
Yeah. And a lot of it, too. A Fontanian would most likely dissolve the moment they fell.
Right! You can't go down if there's primordial seawater. It's too dangerous and it won't... don't get by my wrong. We're not...
No, you're right. I can't do anything. That complicates things.
In that case, do you...
The water levels here are unstable. I'll go together with you. Perhaps we'll find the exit just...
All right. Come... Oh no, it's a dead end! Let's try climbing over from the side.
Adventure time! There's something wrong with this bridge! Run for it!
Demoiselle?
Huh?
Demoiselle, what are you doing here by yourself?
Maybe she just wants some...
Yes, it would appear.
That's quite
Oh. This is a familiar...
Is something the matter, Demoiselle?
Oh, no. I was just trying to recall...
Do you remember Mr.
We were headed to see how
Ah, right.
Oh, Miss Navia. Mr. Malus. And Mr. Silver, too.
How...
I've been great. They were knocking at my door day and night. Even
Sometimes.
Oh, yes. Miss Navia, these are some flower seeds that I prepared. Please take them. I don't know what we would have done without your help. So the...
Did you cultivate them?
Why, we can have as many pots as you'd like, demoiselle.
Perfect. In that case, we'll swap out some of the decorative plants for some of Mrs.
Very well.
Wait. Something's... Excuse me, madam.
That's right.
No, it's nothing. I've heard this name before. And why are there so few people around here?
We must mind the time, demoiselle.
We do?
Well, now,
Miss Navia, here you are. I've been looking for you. Please, come to the...
My trial?
Yes, she's right, demoiselle. It's just about...
Oh?
Look, it's Navia!
And her two attendants are with her. Goodness, everyone's finally here.
There sure are a lot of people here to see the trial. And they all seem to be Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen. And as for the judge...
please sit in the defendant's seat. Don't worry, sir.
All right.
Typically, it wouldn't be allowed, but...
Hey, what kind of place do they think this is?
Come on, do they have any idea?
Enough with the whispering!
My dear Miss Navia, have you not yet... As all here know, you, after you took over the Spina, not only you, but your butler, your subordinates...
Wait a moment.
Yes, correct. Absolutely right. And that is... We are one big family. Therefore, this fair...
Huh? Everything you have said is correct. I have indeed done a lot for my hometown, and...
Ah, well, if that...
How wonderful!
I know all these people. Why are they laughing?
I seem to remember...
Wait just a moment. This isn't right!
Malus?
What was that, Mr. Malus? Our conclusion is very clear and unanimous. Let the court judge her now. She...
Stay here, Navia! You're one of us!
Demoiselle, don't admit guilt. This trial means to keep you here forever.
I wish to exercise my right to defend Our Lady.
She was born a free and independent spirit. She has never been tied down by...
Her actions cannot serve as proof that she identified... Please do not mistake her actions as...
Really? As an individual, you say? Don't forget, we are all Fontanians here. Even if Miss Navia only voluntarily rendered her assistance, everything is measured. Now, I speak for everyone. Our opinion is consistent. Navia should stay.
And you would call this justice? Have you forgotten how much you all once longed?
Do you mean to defy our justice?
If your justice is flawed, then why should we...
As you said, we can also have our own justice. And that...
My head...
Demoiselle!
Silver... I remember now. Everything that seemed... Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen, and Mr. Giverny and Mrs. Burnett, who we met earlier. Even Malus and Silver. I don't want to admit it, but they're all dead.
Don't be afraid.
Absurd! Who are you to say that she cannot be judged? We are the... Don't let them escape! We shall keep Navia...
Mr. Malus and Mr. Silver, must you be so stubborn? How could the two of you possibly hope to stand against the collective? Do not resist. This judgment is fair and just. Navia belongs to... After all that happened, she should not be left alone in Poisson.
What are you saying?
No more excuses!
He says we're jealous. Jealous? How could she possibly be an...
What's with these people?
Who's jealous of her?
She belongs to us!
Miss Navia.
Silence.
That's...
Monsieur Neuvillette!
Such commotion is prohibited in the court. The court will adjourn for the rest of the day.
Our thanks, Miss...
Please leave with me, Miss Navia.
But
Go on now, demoiselle. This is your only chance to leave this...
Loose.
My apologies. I couldn't resist making one little joke once I realized that...
Malus, Silver.
Quickly, you must come now.
Goodbye.
Farewell.
No, wait! Just a second!
Navia?
You're awake. Good.
I must have been dreaming. Malus and Silver were still...
It looks like you're...
Did all the sad feelings cause you to have a nightmare?
The ruins you were exploring suffered a cave-in. When you were just about to be dissolved... I think I saw 2 Oceanids protecting you. It was only for a moment. Perhaps even were it not for their intervention, I would not have been able to rest...
Wait, did you say Oceanids? You mean like what happened?
Perhaps those 2 Oceanids...
I always told them that they didn't have to protect...
Please come with me.
Neuvillette, are you okay?
Oh, I am quite all right.
Why do you look so... Oh, Paimon knows. You're the type who feels awkward when there's nothing to talk about.
I merely thought...
Huh? Why didn't you just say so then? Don't you think it's even more...
I suppose... Ah, Sigewinne. I hope all is well with her these days. Her work...
No way, don't worry. She's doing...
I see. Well, then...
Oh, and the Duke also says hi. Even though Sigewinne made him do that.
Thank you. I have indeed been busy lately.
He still doesn't know what to talk about. So, Neuvillette... This isn't going anywhere.
Yes, in fact. I had arranged to meet you in Poisson, but amid my astonishment, I ran into the nave, and we had...
Yeah, we originally planned...
I'm sorry to have kept you all waiting like that. I'm feeling much better now. I guess we should get going again. Will you come with us, Monsieur Neuvillette?
Yes, if you would mind my company.
All right! Another one's going to the party! Let's get going then!
Let's light it up! Let's light it up!
Looks like we've reached the end.
This is the place. There should not be any other hidden...
The path sure had some twists and turns, but it turns out that this place isn't actually that big.
Stone slates. It seems like...
Perhaps we should just leave them be.
There are 4 locations in total, but only 3 stone slates. The slate that should be...
The surrounding walls also show...
There's something written below. Let Paimon see.
It feels like someone left these slates and these words here for a purpose.
That would fit the circumstances dictated by the prophecy, yeah.
There's a person kneeling here. She seems so...
And is that Lady Farina in the 3rd image?
And is that a ring of...
The 4th image. I know this one. This exactly matches.
The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the hydro... More information should be hidden in these slates, but I fear I cannot easily uncover...
Don't blame yourself, Monsieur Neuvillette.
Ooh, the Paimon's getting the chills just looking. This says that it's the history of the...
I really hope it doesn't...
Still, Paimon feels...
That's right! If the images are in chronological order, shouldn't the 4th, the waters drowning Fontaine, come before the...
And yet the order is reversed here.
If we go by timing, Lady Farina only emerges in the 3rd image. That means...
Egeria, then. I had never met her. The previous Archon kneeling before the floating island in the skies.
Did she herself commit that sin? Also, I'm still wondering why these ancient stone slates are here at all.
But who would have created...
It seems that any further clues will have to come from Farina.
In that case, there's no time to lose. There's...
Yeah, we better get somewhere safe for now.
Let's split up here.
You still have energy?
I'll depart as well. Thanks for your hard work today. Traveler, I will go talk to Farina tomorrow. I'm sure that you're concerned about this matter as well. If you have time, drop by my office.
Are you really gonna talk to her about this?
She has long been.
All right.
I will be careful.
Traveler, Paimon, our safe house at the... All right.
We're finally back!
Welcome back.
Yay! And there's good Ooh, desserts! Nice! These are all Paimon's! Paimon's already starting to forget what happened today.
Oh, that voice. Is that who...
Huh?
It...
Seriously?
Still,
Well, I have... Why did you think I was... Well, I used to have my own. There was nothing for it, Nope. Although it is used by...
Wow! Imagine...
I reckon so. In any case, I'd give my disciple a name like this as well, if I were Astromance.
Whoa! That's a...
My name means...
Thrice as great?
I know, right?
Talk about it.
Magistus is thus the calling card of our school, so to speak.
That sounds terrible! But anyway, you're not fun to...
Well, I was born in Mondstadt, yes. My parents,
Oh, that's a good thing then.
Speaking of that, I'm sure you're aware there's something ominous about it. Well, the water, I mean. That was the main reason, yes. Just a while back, the invitation was sent quite early on.
What do you make of that prophecy, Mona?
What I can tell you is that I'm afraid that this is not something that just anyone can do. But on the flip side, the prophecy is so huge and powerful that it must surely...
A visionary?
Of course. The old hag could do it, and I'd bet...
Thanks, Mona.
Oh, well...
That's the great...
Indeed.
Oh, sorry. I came to see what all the commotion was about.
Oh, whoops. Guess we were getting a little too carried away there. Well, I'll go tend to my own business now.
And there she goes, quick as rushing water. And here we are with the Spina guy giving us suspicious looks. If Paimon hadn't spoke... that's more good morning. To be honest, Paimon's still feeling... but it's time to get up.
You're here.
Is
Monsieur Neuvillette and Lady Farina, they seem to...
Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. You are the High... Look at this. This...
You mean...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster. I will say this once more. You must tell me everything you know. Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins.
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. But you found them in some ancient ruin?
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates.
The prophet...
The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the...
I don't! I've never seen such slates!
I'll ask you again. Do you really have no information regarding the previous Archon? My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for, a certain sin. If anyone would know it...
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. I understand your concerns, but...
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Farina. But there are several indications that you have been investigating the prophecy on the sly. This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But you have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be. Nor are you a fool.
Well, since you know about my secret investigations, there's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. Just trust in me. You're Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss this matter again. Oh, the opera's about to start. Toodles!
Did Farina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her. She was smiling.
I assume you've been outside.
Oh! You noticed!
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion... Still, I do not understand. Everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. We may have to create a situation in which she will have...
Oh? Like...
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial. But
Farina's seen so many trials, and she's really good.
we will need to consider this thoroughly. If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but this may be cruel to her. But all Fontaine is in crisis. But who will lend us their aid to do?
Well, that's everyone, huh? Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most—
That's what family should do. Sit.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about—
Me? No, I don't think I can.
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things.
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to— as for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts together to create a series of traps.
Oh? How in—
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that—
Huh? Didn't you say that you would be facilitating this?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good—
I see. And what—
He is glad that you consider him your boss. Do go on.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we—
I've also gone diving to catch some fish.
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host to— though that was their name. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly. A trap comprises of the following components. So, if we were to build a trap together—
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Our line of work requires a deft hand, and—
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you?
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more
Calm and steady.
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. I remember that you liked those too, didn't you?
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it.
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any related experience.
That makes sense. You usually solve problems directly, without the use of any such tricks. But I do have one more question for you, Monsieur. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey.
Kind, as always. However, our intention— if we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and safely contained.
Wait, why is that—
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it.
So are we going hunting together?
Huh. We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on but we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god.
Oh, so that's what's going on.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Yamane was now that Paimon... it's hard to say. After all, you're the most reliable person... did you just... then what's that? Paimon's never seen that cup before!
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea.
Who's that voice?
What a strange conclusion, and yet even you feel confused. Consider me a passerby, just accepting a Precisely. Call me N, a mage who wanders the world. The prophecy. Yes.
What? Then is there any way we can stop it?
People call such things fate, and it is written in the stars. Ah, so you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually are the things that you shall
What is she talking about?
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide. This was good tea, by the way. Thank you for your hospitality.
The voice. It's gone. Alright. Hey, it's you who's getting lazy, okay?
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. Not all Fontanians are pessimistic.
Did she...
Why, yes, it was Charlotte. I assume I'm in full support of her view.
That's right! Paimon's...
Ah, yes. About what we had discussed before. Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the gods get...
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the... But I've never met her. And if she were...
Whoa.
Their abilities are...
Well, it's not like Paimon...
Yes, she was. Perhaps it is something... Traveler? Paimon?
Oh, we're fine. We're just...
I see. I guess you could consider me someone who has... But even so, perhaps that's what N was trying to tell... I did originally think of steering clear of all this.
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. Sorry, it was worth trying to come, I suppose, that...
Paimon feels kind of moved by what Mona said. Hey, Traveler. Paimon suddenly feels like going outside for a walk. Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by.
Off we go!
Huh? Our names... Let Paimon see! The underwater strong... My recent thus didn't... So while the fortress is in... Journalist Charlotte's biggest... Huh. Charlotte took so... She hasn't been able to get a hold of any... Ugh, seriously? Well... Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it!
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia!
Oh, are you here to buy cake too?
Wait, did he really say something like...
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes...
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work.
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but...
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No, it's the same for eating in general.
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have... These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what human...
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily. Yes, and you can own... I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon... It's more delicious than last time! Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious. Oh! We're near the Seabird office! Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon!
Ha! You've got some nerve!
Oh, you needn't worry. It's all right, though. I've set aside...
Really?
You're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were a journalist with ulterior...
Oh, Paimon...
Still, what brings...
A friend of ours met you...
Ah, so you... So she mentioned me?
She said that you're a real...
Nice.
Huh? So you...
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh, in that case...
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! Whew, so much to get...
Wait, Charlotte. Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If...
Huh. That's the prophecy you're talking... If you're serious... From what I've seen, most people... So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the op... Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for... I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic. But anyway, that's my answer.
That's... so nice. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo. Paimon's been thinking... If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Teyvat... No, Paimon should ask... We've always been moving to the next destination. You mean... still traveling? Huh. Feels like it'll grow, but it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure.
Ah, so the 2 of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais...
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Neuvillette sent me to... Not at all. I'm well aware that, yes, inside the opera...
A riot?
Well, that said, Lady Farina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and loudly accusing her of... And before she could respond, the crowd continued to grow and protest...
So people have started to put the blame on Farina?
I agree. People will naturally rely on God.
So what happened after that is for...
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of... The Marechaussee Phantom had their hands...
So, you mean she's...
That's right. The Marechaussee has dispatched many people to... That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. Good. Monsieur Neuvillette sent me to tell you about...
Don't worry. This is more than enough to...
Is that so? Well...
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Farina, she... And, as we also know, when Neuvillette was talking to her, it would be hard for her to ignore being accused. Paimon thinks Farina's probably... Huh! Well, what do you think? In that case, there's not a This place looks deserted. Guess guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really... That's Farina, right over there!
What was meant to happen did. I'm sorry. I am so... Give up, Farina. There's no... I'm sorry, but what can I even do? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. It's just that... Farina, you were crying...
What do you mean, tears? Who did that uncivil... They even dare to tell... Oh, and I'm sure Neuvillette and those people from the Marish Chaussee Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just... That's against the rule.
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch... This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here! Quick, come to
What?
Hurry, they're almost...
Fine. I suppose haste is warned. No, I mean, I merely gave in to the
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, did it?
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Neuvillette's made some...
Yeah, but the people of Poisson... It's true. I've been investigating. I once had informants all over. I've tried all kinds of ways to, but all my efforts proved we cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what. Give up. Indeed. I've thought about fate. But just now, it all became... As long as the final moment hasn't come, don't worry. I will keep hope. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse. Don't take any of what I just said.
Come on! Paimon could have sworn...
Cher, that's impossible. It was fated right from the... A witness. Yes. And if Tevat is in its...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So, this is what it is. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalors, the god...
May I interpret these words as your in that case, You will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the...
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear,
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. I will admit. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable. You are not the only ones to be But now, I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true... This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Archon, Focalors, will now begin!
Woohoo! Oh, now we're making history!
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, also, even though she's still acting super dramatic...
All right, then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins, just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members. Waiting for the people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene, and so we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean... the ones who...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in all of Fontanian history.
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Araneas. Was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have...
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water.
So, in other words, the earthquake...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can get you gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of Fontaine would accept a duel with an Archon without flinching.
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage.
Oh?
Is that so? Then I suppose I must have missed my final chance. It's fine. It matters not. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Madam Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Wait. So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel. I didn't think that this is the first time a Fatui, the fortress of Merope. I needed the words of...
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, neuvillette. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I...
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalors, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be...
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you...
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? You have to not only refute Farina's claims...
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, and if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
That does... First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as...
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Neuvillette sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you. Besides, everyone knows for centuries, manifestations of my authority have one need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the...
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Childe to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods...
Lady Farina, I believe while the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue.
I never thought you'd
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that...
So, you neither knew why Childe was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the
real Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. And it has... You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof.
My power as an Archon.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium. Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives.
Isn't that...
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power?
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't... I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? Please?
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really...
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all...
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, no...
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. That doesn't... It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea.
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater if we are to believe that you are indeed the real But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently. And
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably...
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
what's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina.
Hey! I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch this water!
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewin? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh, wait. What did she just say?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. We don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina could have...
I can't believe... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold... Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the primordial seawater? Also, if I was really just a human, why would I... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Farina to...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: the Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice?
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just want to...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, The Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! Huh, you finally made it. I assume this means you've completed your mission?
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded? Then...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina. So when you say Hydro Archon...
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stones. The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power. And does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. The third slate shows the Hydro Archons... Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy of the Fontaine. We didn't believe that such a crazy That doesn't...
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into the fortress. If we hadn't dealt with it in... It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell in, the stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro... Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by... We know from the case of the serial disappearances of and this might be the reason that Fontainians can dissolve.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea, but won't cease to exist. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The stone slate's contents can all be verified by... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now, but then it feels like... we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
Incredible. We're not real human.
All Fontainians were originally... The evidence for that can be found in how... Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate. That could also explain explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us.
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters. And did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, however, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, when we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded with.
Well?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race, and thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now...
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Teyvat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontaine.
We just barely managed to push it back, right?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, even if the entirety of Teyvat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other world.
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible foe.
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, ultimately,
What's happening with the Oratrice?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina!
No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the Heavenly Principle.
Deceiving the Heavenly Principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused. She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled. Ostensibly. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quote... But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to...
So you were also once one of the Oceanids? Transformed into a human by Egeria's hand?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. Anyway, all part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principle. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, So long as I, Focalors' divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stake. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human. Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other Odin. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time. Off we go! Oh? Who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, all right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to stay... Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor, the eyes of countless Fontaine. Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough. Teamwork is dreamwork! Let's light it up!
Eat this! Boba, get them!
I'm going in! Let's light it up! Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards! Let's light it!
You're toast! Out of the frying pan!
Ow!
Hi!
I'm going in!
Don't touch me! Boba, get them!
Farina. Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you? Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you. Wait a moment. You're... mirror me? Mirror you, huh? Mirror me. The prophecy. What prophecy? The people will all be dissolved into the water. Oh. Very... What's going on? I can't... Yes, it will. And... But doesn't that mean everyone will die? Oh, don't worry. I will tell you how to say... Oh, so there's still hope. As for the suffering, but if the prophecy will come true, if there were scales... I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you. Huh? Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Play as... That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your... But how will I do this? Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You being a human yourself, remember, your true challenge will not... I'm still not... So, how long am I going to have to play this role? To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, but I promise you... A trial, huh? What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still don't know. Perhaps I should first try to... I'm sure you've all heard about how in truth, I know little about... As the god Focalors, the god of justice. Once again, thank you all for coming. This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully...
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's...
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just...
Wait, what's going on? Right. Mirmi said that I just need to calm down, Farina. Think. Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One... Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering, if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials alongside my august self, here in this opera house. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. best follow this. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, the scales of just may law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be. There is, so long as I.
Yes! Oh, yeah!
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports as well as...
Come now, was I not, besides,
if I may be so...
a magnificent...
That's true,
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now.
Lady Farina, I don't know.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance. All right. Deoteria is...
You remember? He is doing much better now. You're such a gentle and wise god.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological...
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect all manner of signs indicate...
well, as I...
Really?
I'm afraid that they haven't found it...
Is that so? Well... The day is finally over, but it's good to see that everything's getting on. Maybe this is fine.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases.
There'll be no need for that.
Lady Farina, I've waited so...
Indeed, my dear loyals.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. I feel utterly
Lady Farina, I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Deoteria, almost 20 generations ago.
And what a fine family.
What? Are you crying?
This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh, Archon, I am honored to have
So interminable hundreds of years must have passed by now. I never imagined that it would hurt. Have I reached my limit? I want to tell. I've conducted. All I can do is keep heart.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden, although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone.
Share my that's impossible.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, just share it with me.
A witness. And if Tevat is in its entire... She's right. I could confide in her, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected... No, Farina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really alright, Farina? You've worked so hard. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? If you let this opportunity slip, think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Farina. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance and...
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, it seems that trusting humanity was the right decision.
I believe that I understand how your deception... How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine?
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine.
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding... In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Farina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all a part of your plan, then?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the Oratrice. But Only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia, and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be
returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet. Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, in other words, existence was Egeria's justice, defying the prophecy, and at this point, we, Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too, at last. I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually... You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Iudex neuvillette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?